York's classic rock, Q1043.
Good morning. Those of you who have been listening to the Jim Kerr Rock and Roll Morning Show during the pandemic know I've made no secret of the fact I have a condo down the shore, but because the walls are so thin, I could not. My neighbors would have hated me waking them up at 5 a.m. with my cackling laughter. So I've been staying at our home in Bucks County. So I wanted to introduce you where I've been broadcasting. So I wanted to introduce you to two new neighbors, and I am so excited that they have opened a store in Frenchtown, which I didn't even comprehend that we were missing this in Frenchtown till it opened, and it was such a perfect fit. It's called Rock Art Revival. It's on Bridge Street. I know a lot of you who are bikers come out to Frenchtown over the weekend, so this is make this one of your stops, because we're talking rock art, posters, apparel, there's great t-shirts, there's jewelry, and there's tons of vinyl. And they just opened last week. So I welcome my new neighbors from across the river, Rachel Hill and Sean Gilday. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure to be here. It's such a wonderful area. And so far having the store open has been fantastic.
Tell us the history of the store, how this all came about, because this is a COVID story at its heart.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
So I'll just say I've been collecting posters for a very long time, and not just your typical posters, but stuff from the 60s, Bill Graham era posters, and just have an affinity for artwork. So this has always been, the store idea has been like, maybe when I'm like 65 and I'm going to slow down, I'll open the store in a cute little town like Frenchtown, and that'll be like it. But COVID sort of pushed that up because we're in the music business. So we're agents and managers. We own Blue Raven Entertainment, and we opened up about 15 years ago. And in 2019, we're involved in 1,000 concerts, meaning we booked 1,000 concerts for our bands. And in 2020, we booked 80. So we were off about 95%, and which is, basically catastrophic. We're fortunate we didn't carry any debt, so we're okay. But in the meantime, I was on my farm and I was doing farm things, which kept me busy in the summer. And then all of a sudden, the winter came, and I put wood up by the house, and everything was put away for the winter. And I thought, I think I'm getting a little depressed here. And I just felt down about the situation, and I didn't have anything to keep my mind occupied. So Rachel said to me, what do you think about doing this poster thing and this store idea? And, I'll let her take it from here, because a lot of it was, her doing.
Yeah, I mean, our industry as a whole really was devastated throughout this pandemic, and it's certainly not to take away from anybody else that's experienced financial hardship, but I've been inspired this last year by colleagues in the industry, and we've all been forced to think outside the box and reinvent the wheel. And so this was definitely a pivot project, and I call it a sanity project too, because like Sean said, we were able to do a few shows last summer, outdoors, drive-in concerts, socially distanced, but we all knew going into the winter was going to be tough, and it certainly was. And that's kind of when this inspiration really came about, to take a chance and take a leap of faith and be able to do something creative, that was not keeping within the realm of music, of course, because that's where our passions both lie. And it's been an interesting pivot.
I stopped by the store with my husband this week, and one of the things you told me, Rachel, that I want you to explain to the audience, even though the government had passed help for live entertainment venues, you have not seen this help. Tell the listeners, share with the listeners your story with this, because my mouth fell open.
Yeah, the government took a long time to really recognize the the impact that the entertainment industry had dealt with because of the pandemic. And it wasn't until this past December that a Save Our Stages bill got passed. And literally tomorrow, I might be pulling an all-nighter tonight, depending on if they tell us when the application opens or not. But many people in the industry, like Sean and myself, talent representatives, managers, agents, and mainly venues are all going to be applying for this Save Our Stages money tomorrow as a lifeline, really, to get to the other side of this thing.
So you didn't get the paperwork for 3 months.
Correct.
Four
Well,
months,
four,
really.
yeah.
That's insane. What kind of
insane,
help is that?
I know.
But I'll say this, you know, I do think that as overwhelmed as I feel, I think the government's overwhelmed. I think the government is trying to figure out a way to help everybody. And there's some good stuff that's being done for restaurants now in the new bill that got passed. And, you know, to me, I'm just thankful it's there. I'm thankful that somebody finally did say, okay, well, the music industry was probably hit the hardest of any industry, just simply because we can't have any kind of gatherings. So, you know, we're dealing with that. You know, one of the things that like killed me was seeing how this affects the other people around me, because all my friends are in the music business. My whole life is the music business. I spend all my time going to shows, and shows are a combination of work and enjoyment. And, you know, an agent who was a much bigger agent than me many years ago, his name was Tim Drake from Roots Agency. He called me up out of the blue one day when I was really wondering how well we were doing. And he said he was very impressed with what we were doing. And it did so much for me, and it drove me to really push my business. And recently I speak to him every week, sometimes every day. And just hearing in his voice, this is a guy with the ultimate confidence who has a terrific agency, how upsetting this has all been for him and how stressful, you know, it shakes you up a little bit, you know, because when I have an issue, I call him, you know, and now we're all kind of leaning on each other. So, you know, and not to sound dramatic, I know everybody has their issues right now with COVID, and, you know, people are losing family members, you know, and that's just absolutely the worst. Right. And that's absolutely devastating. And I'm fortunate in that my family is healthy, and, you know, I'm very lucky that way.
I'm speaking with Sean Gilday and Rachel Hill. They own the brand new, just opened Rock Art Revival. It's a shop in Frenchtown on Bridge Street, filled with rock posters, rock apparel, jewelry, and a lot of vinyl. Before we start talking about some of the things that people can see in the store, because a lot of things caught my eye, and I wanted to, how do you see things progressing for the music industry? Because certainly there was a setback, but certainly we see light at the end of the tunnel now. And oh my God, this is what people have, this is what they want to do. They want their live music. So what is your perspective moving forward?
I think even summer for us last year was okay, because we have two puppies with us. Even summer for us last year was okay, because we were able to get outside and social distance, and naturally people feel much more comfortable being able to be outside rather than, you know, going back indoors to see live music again. So I think summer, you know, the vaccine seems to be moving along, which is naturally making people feel more comfortable. And I think summer will be decent again. And then hopefully that'll transition into fall, and we'll, even if we can get back to 50%, you know, and be able to do 2 shows, or, you know, whatever we need to do, you know, everyone, I remember at the beginning of this was saying, like, we're all in this together. And I felt that way then, and I still feel that way now, but now it's time to really walk the walk, and there needs to be flexibility, and we do really need to, you know, save our industry.
Shauna, are you optimistic for the music industry, for the live music industry?
I'll tell you why I am. I'm very optimistic, and I'll tell you why. The interesting thing is that the fans, right? The reaction of the fans. So what initially happened was nobody knew what was going to happen. Everybody was freaking out. And then there was like this, well, do we refund everybody? Do we move shows? Nobody knew what to do. And we started to move shows, and we moved them once, and we moved them twice, and we moved them 3 times, and we moved some of them 4 times. And 95% of the fans hung in there. People have not asked for their money back. They asked to push it forward. A lot of venues, people were like, well, we don't know if we're ever going to get to this show, but please just keep the money. So the fans, the music fans, have been
The saving grace.
the saving grace in the sense of like just feeling like, okay, we have something to push forward for.
Right.
So that's really been the big positive I've gotten out of this. We also own a company where we do a promoting, and as a promoter, we have people's money in our bank account. And shockingly, I think 6 people asked for their money back out of like 4,000 or 5,000
Wow.
that we were holding money for.
Yeah.
So, it's money that we don't touch. It's their money and it's there. But the point is, it's not about having that money in my bank account. It's about that show of confidence and support that the fans have had, that by hook or by crook, this industry's coming back. And that's meant everything to me.
We only have a few minutes, so I wanted to talk about a few
Sure.
things that caught my eye. And of course, there were many at your store, Rock Art Revival on Bridge Street in Frenchtown. First of all, our biggest Led Zepp fan, I think she might be the biggest on earth, is Carol Miller, who does and founded Get the Lead Out. And so there was this wonderful artwork. And those of you who can watch the video, q1043.com, you can see this brilliant artwork, Led Zeppelin.
This was actually the cover of an album, I believe, and it's a Shepard Fairey
Mothership.
original print, and it's signed by him. And of course, we have it framed in museum quality glass, and it's museum mounted. Yeah, I mean, everything we have artwork wise is treated as if it's fine art.
And who would have thought back in the day that this would be an investment? But it is an investment. What one item are you two most proud of? And probably it differs between the two of you.
Yeah,
Are you gonna
I'll show you
show some
this.
stuff?
But we need to describe it because most people are listening
I
on,
get it.
on the air. Yeah.
Yeah. So what this is, right? This is an original Rick Griffin. So Rick Griffin was considered the godfather of the psychedelic art movement. And this is an original Big Brother and the Holding Company and Santana poster that, I mean, to give you for instance, this is selling for like $2,300. And people got these for free when they left the show. So
Wow.
yeah, one of the things that happened is people wouldn't leave Bill Graham's shows. They would hang out all night. So a way to get him out, he would give 500 posters away to the next show. So this was
Wow.
one of those posters. And these artists were amazing.
How about you, Rachel? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I've just learned so much throughout this whole experience of putting this store together, especially when it comes to, we have all this other cool stuff like the vinyl and the apparel and the handbags, but the main focus is really the rock art, or the art of rock and roll, as we like to call it. And it's just interesting to me to discover what makes these items special and what makes these items collectible. So for instance, for me, there's a Grateful Dead Oxa Moxa poster that we have in the store. And the reason that poster became so iconic is because it was supposed to be shows. The Grateful Dead was supposed to play these shows out in Hawaii at the convention center. And then the concerts actually ended up getting canceled. So they never even happened. But the poster just took off because of that.
Yeah,
so
most of the posters were thrown out. And
Right.
and yeah, what we have is a second edition, but the originals go for, $40,000-$50,000. So it's
Wow.
it's crazy.
Unfortunately, we are out of time, but now that things are opening up, for those of you who have been vaccinated and those of you, you're going to mask up anyway, and you're feeling confident, come out to Frenchtown. Rock Art Revival just opened. It's going to bring a smile to your face. And
21 Bridge
man,
Street.
it's going to make you really be jonesing for live music, which they will have at Rock Art Revival in the not too distant future. Coming up next, a friend of Sonstein Sunday who has joined us a couple of times over the pandemic, Major Kevin Stoops of the Salvation Army of New York, will be joining us next. Q1043.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.